Alright, guys. We're over here celebrating this Jeff Sessions thing, kinda, sorta. And all of a sudden, this guy comes out of nowhere talking shit. Now, there's a couple things going on. There's a governor race starting to brew, and there's also a Senate trying to push some marijuana legalization. What does Christie do? And I don't even, I really didn't think this was even worth doing a story about. There's always one gem in a Christie story. Let's see if we can find it this time. Maybe not. Christie calls push for marijuana legalization beyond stupidity. Beyond stupidity. Kind of like you, Christie. You are beyond stupidity. The way you've basically put a stranglehold on your state's medical marijuana laws for most of the time you've been governor, all the way to the way you ignore your state time after time after time, and even to the way you handled the Sandy hurricane, not very good. Not a very good way to handle things. I'm just going to leave all that alone and just say that you're just a total piece of shit, Christie. You are. You're worthless. Your opinion is garbage when it comes to marijuana, especially medical marijuana. But when it comes to marijuana in general, and the reason I say that is because you are the cause of pretty much a massive exodus of people leaving your shit state, your state that's full of chemicals, and there's a bunch of factories that produce pharmaceutical pills all day. You're beyond stupidity. You suck at life. All right. Anyway, New Jersey Governor Christie didn't hold back against lawmakers in his state that want to legalize marijuana Monday. And by the way, like I was saying about that governor's race that's starting to brew, there's a couple of potential Democrats that are already talking about legalizing marijuana. So I think that what Christie does is he goes out there and he gives you all this anti-marijuana bullshit, and then it kind of like makes everybody start talking about positive things about marijuana more because, why not? We wouldn't even have had a conversation if you didn't come along and start the conversation with a bunch of shit talk. So now we have a conversation, and it immediately goes to the opposite extreme. Because that's usually the way things go when someone's kind of an extremist like this guy is when it comes to marijuana policy and marijuana rhetoric in general. The Republican governor told a forum on substance abuse hosted by the New Jersey Hospital Association, "It's not time for us to be cool and say pot's okay." It kind of is, though, because the only reason, the only thing that you're saying when you say that pot is not okay is that it is okay to put handcuffs on somebody if you catch them with marijuana. It is okay to immediately expel all their rights, search them, seize their property and their papers, put them in a cage, take away all their rights. Just because you found a little marijuana on them. That's what you're saying. You're saying, it's not pot's not okay. That's what you're saying. If you say pot's okay, then we don't have to go through all that other shit. But you want to keep taking away people's rights by finding pot on them. That's what you want to do. Democrats in New Jersey's state senate are expected to unveil a proposal that would make it the 12th state to legalize, tax, and regulate recreational marijuana use. A move Christie says is beyond stupidity, as we already know. 12th state? Did I miss something? I know I've been gone for a while, but what? Anyway, quote, "We are in the midst of a public health crisis on opiates," said Christie, whom had been chosen by President Trump to lead the commission to find ways to combat the rising trend of opiate abuse in America. Quote, "But people are saying pot's okay. This is nothing more than crazy liberals who want to say everything's okay. Baloney. I have a problem with that statement too because it's not crazy liberals who want to say that pot's okay. Have you checked the poll numbers yet, dumbass? Hey, Christie, you're a dumbass. You know what the polls say? Like, I think it is 61%. Oh, you know what? Let's check. Oh, bingo. What do we have? 61%. There you go, Christie. Are you trying to say that all those people, what did you call them? Crazy liberals? Though, you think that 61% of the country are crazy liberals? I believe it's like 38% Republicans now. So 38% of Republicans are crazy liberals. See how that works, Christie? You fat ass. I'm sorry. I don't really mean to fat shame anyone. Just Chris Christie. Because he deserves it for the gestation crates. You don't get to do that and not get called fat ass. When you let your people that lobby you basically do things that are against the will of the voters, as much as you've done, you don't get to get a pass on getting fat shamed or any other kind of, shade I can throw at you. Because, Christie, you're a piece of shit. I really wish this thing that you got, this drug commission, I really wish it was something, but it's not. You guys are supposed to write a report. Big fucking deal. We already know the situation, dumbass. We need action. We need you to shut down some of these fucking pharmaceutical companies that are cranking out all this shit. You just said something about the opioid problem. You're just like any other prohibitionist. Every time you fucking want to talk about marijuana, you bring up the opiate problem. The opioids is killing people. We have we're in an epidemic and we have a public health crisis. We have a public health crisis on opiates. Okay, so why are you talking about that in the same sentence as marijuana legalization? People are saying pot's okay, and this is nothing more than crazy liberals who want to say that everything's okay, including baloney, apparently. Now, I'm a pretty crazy guy, and I'm pretty liberal. But I don't think baloney's okay. All right, Christie? I've seen how it's made. I've seen what goes into it. And I don't think it's fucking okay at all. I don't think it's okay to have, and I don't think it's okay to serve it to kids, especially. I definitely don't think it's okay for you to eat any more of it if you care about your health. And what is this marijuana thing anyway? Do you care about people's health so much that you don't want them to smoke marijuana? What do you got against people smoking marijuana? What the fuck is the big problem with smoking marijuana? What's the big deal about it? I don't really understand where you're going with that. Because apparently for you, eating unhealthy is okay. And drinking alcohol is okay. Gambling's okay. According to your laws that you got in your state. Christie has often argued that he believes marijuana is a gateway to harder drugs and contends that if Democratic lawmakers want to legalize marijuana, they should also pursue legalizing heroin. Perhaps we will pursue that. Maybe that's another way we can beat the fucking opioid epidemic, is to make it so if instead of doing heroin in some, cardboard box under a bridge, somebody would be in a, public health facility where it wouldn't be like that. I don't know. I don't even know what that looks like, but I've heard about it. I've heard about Amsterdam, and I've heard programs that they have like that in Vancouver. Toronto was starting to adapt that kind of a policy. Canada overall is considering legalizing heroin or having government-provided heroin that's available that is legal. So, we can at least talk about it. It's something that you wouldn't ever consider doing. Instead, you continue with the prohibitionist attitude that has done nothing and proven to be a complete failure. And that's, why we are in the thralls of an opioid epidemic. And that's why there is so much heroin on the streets. And that's why there is these fentanyl deaths that are almost as prevalent as heroin deaths every year. I just had 2 more people I know die this year from heroin or opioids, one or the other or both. And it's getting old, man. It's getting to the point where everybody I know that's ever done that shit is dead. So, Christie, it's really sad to see a sad sack like you in charge of some kind of thing that's supposed to try to figure out how to get a handle on this opioid problem in America. And yet you still go out here and fuck with marijuana like you're some kind of a bully cop. What the fuck is your problem with marijuana? What did it ever do to you? Apparently, and I've read this, there's studies that show it too, but America, we're not allowed to really do studies, with marijuana. The studies basically say that people that use cannabis on a regular basis have better control over their diet and actually eat a lot healthier than people that don't smoke marijuana. Even people that don't smoke marijuana who try to eat healthy. Apparently, you don't smoke marijuana. You don't smoke marijuana, obviously. You hate marijuana. You don't care about, wrecking your arteries with cheeseburgers and fucking donuts. But you think it's bad for me to smoke some marijuana because it's a gateway drug that leads to harder drugs. I got news for you, Christie. Your gateway theory is bullshit. It's been proven to be bullshit by every academic body there is in the whole world. You're like one of the last people on a small island who still even use that shameful rhetoric. The rhetoric that would keep marijuana illegal just because it's rhetoric that you can throw out there every time. It's like the last fucking thing that you have. Oh, the kids will use it and it's a gateway to the hard stuff. The gateway to the hard stuff is candy. And the hard stuff is the donuts and the bacon and the pizzas and all the cheeseburgers and those cakes and whatever else you got to eat every day to do what you're doing to yourself. And I don't hate you for, basically hating me for being who I am and talking about marijuana the way I do. I don't hate you at all. Actually, I think you're kind of entertaining sometimes, just not when you talk about weed. But politically, you're dog shit. That's all I know about that. That's all I can say about it. Politically, you have absolutely zero political capital. You've never done a fucking thing for the state of New Jersey. You're hardly ever there. You're always on some kind of national stage trying to do something there. And you've been a thorn in the side of every aspect of marijuana legalization in the state of New Jersey, it doesn't make sense. Out of all the East Coast states that I can think of, it would, in my opinion, New Jersey seemed to be the one, based on the people that I've met and been to and hung out in different areas in New Jersey and all the other states on the East Coast, except for a couple of the ones really far up there. But for the most part, that was what I would have bet on 10 years ago to be the first state on the East Coast to legalize marijuana. Then you came along. So, Christie, nobody's going to be any happier than they ever were the day it's time for you. Like, whenever someone says that you're a lame duck, I'm going to start celebrating. But it's going to be a great day when you're no longer the governor of New Jersey. And I think by the time you get out, even the Republican candidate, who definitely won't win, is going to still be like, legalize marijuana. Because everybody in your state is ready for the exact opposite of what you've been doing for the last however many years, 6 years or whatever the hell you've been in there doing. And that's all I got to say about that.